Welcome to How We Heard It, the podcast about music, pop culture, movies, and more, with your hosts Wayne Bledsoe and Chuck Campbell.
Ni hao, this is Chuck Campbell with
Wayne Bledsoe. I'm John Baker.
All right, Wayne, so we had an interesting give and take on this topic. When I first pitched it to you, you weren't sure what kind of weird-ass ideas I had. And so my basic idea was songs that trigger you to some unexpected response.
Right.
Okay? And, you know, by this I mean, like, if it's a happy song, but it somehow makes you feel sad, or if it's a sad song and it makes you, you know, feel giddy or whatever. And a neutral song, you know, you might have a wildly melodramatic reaction to, or, you know, a much-loved song by everyone else can just leave you cold. Right?
Yeah, often.
And so we kind of got to that. And then as an example I gave to you, you've told me many times that in electronic music, you hate those synthetic swells that they have that kind of, you know, set the pace and everything. It's kind of an ocean of electronic sound, and you hate that.
That and the ones that sound like we're trying to be strings, but we're not.
Right.
I hate all that. Despise it.
But it stuck with me, the rhythmic part especially, you know, the ebb and flow of symphonic waves, that when I listen to that kind of music again, now that I've got that lodged in my mind, I think, I'll giggle. I think, oh, this pisses Wayne off for some reason. So it's like I'm not even hearing the song as objectively as I would just because I'm thinking about you hearing the song. So, and when you told me that, I sent you a message, well, you know, I don't particularly like guitar solos, like hardly at all.
Of course.
And so what did you say in response?
Well, I said, I don't get giddy. I just think it's weird that you don't recognize that sometimes the emotional core is in like a guitar solo. And I brought up Comfortably Numb, which is it's a sad, depressing song, but it's David Gilmour's guitar that like absolutely nails it. Right. And you feel the emotion not from the lyrics, but from that guitar solo.
Right. And you're right. I don't get that.
No,
I don't
you
get
don't.
That at all. But I'll tell you one thing. I mean, about that song in particular, and about the rock era in general and all that, when that song came out, I was a kid in school, happy as could be, no cares in the world, and I wasn't listening to 30-somethings, talking about the meaningless of life, and so I wasn't listening to that. I had my whole life in front of me, so it didn't.
So did I.
But I mean, you were into music before I was,
right?
And when I first got into music, it was more R&B, it was more pop. It wasn't as focused on guitars, as either one of you, I think, right, John? Both of you are like
definitely,
because rock music definitely focused on guitars.
Yeah.
And guitars, they're in and out of most genres. Maybe not hip hop so much, but R&B, of course there are guitars. Of course there are guitars in pop, but not so heavily focused on guitars.
Right. And during the 60s, guitars definitely became the centerpiece and the solo instrument for nearly every rock band.
Right. Yes, exactly.
A lot of bands even had 3 guitars.
Oh yeah.
Right.
The Outlaws and Leonard Skinner.
Yep.
And of course I fired back at you when you said
Oyster Cult.
Oh yeah.
When you were feeling sorry for me for not getting the emotional heart of all these songs, I said, well, I feel bad that, I've got my whole life being moved emotionally by Kate Bush for decades, and you've completely shut her down because you didn't like her high-pitched voice on the first song she did. So it's like, well, you've missed your stuff too, I mean,
I'm not saying I don't. It's just, I mean, it's... With Kate Bush, I mean, and this is we've talked about this before. There are some voices, and it was that high voice that was it made my back tense up.
Yeah,
and it still does when I hear it. I heard it. There was in a store the other day, and it came on. It was like, oh, here's this.
The Wuthering Heights song.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, it was funny.
And I've told you a million times, she was doing this voice because she's intonating. She's a ghost on the moors,
right? And I hate that story.
Well, you hate the story.
I hate Wuthering Heights. Period.
Right.
I couldn't wait for him to die.
Right. Well, she did, and anyway. But the irony of this, without us even thinking about it when we were going back and forth, is that David Gilmour of Pink Floyd discovered Kate Bush, and they're each other's biggest fans.
Yeah.
So
he produced her.
And he produced her, yes, and he guided her career and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I'll give her a chance one of these days, Chuck. I will go back and listen to her later stuff.
Well, this will bring me to something. I'll get to it in just a second.
Okay, all right.
But so topic is unexpected responses to songs, and it can be like I said, any kind of just a response maybe you wouldn't expect or others wouldn't expect you to have.
Right. Well, I mean,
no, go ahead.
One of the things when we're talking about this is a lot of times you'll hear a song that sounds like a happy song.
Yeah.
And nobody's listened to the lyrics.
Right. Yeah.
Hey Ya is like that. You cannot not feel good when Hey Ya comes on,
right,
until you start listening to those lyrics. And it's like, oh, this is really, these are depressing lyrics.
Right.
I mean, it is. And then there's the Mighty Boss Tones. The impression that I get.
Outkast.
Yeah, by Outkast. Yeah. But that's such a one of those songs. It's like you'd think everybody knows it.
But you never. I mean,
that's true. But
oldest people in our audience and the youngest people in our audience both might not know that.
The impression that I get from the 90s by the Mighty Boss Tones is like this happy sounding ska song, and then you listen to it, and it's like it's kind of devastating.
Yeah.
And it was like I listened the first time I heard it, it's like, oh yeah, and then now when it comes on, and I love it.
Right.
But I have this feeling inside that is not happy.
Right.
But it's kind of a survival type feeling. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to survive, but it's different.
I've also gone the wrong path. Like we've talked about Topaz by the B-52s.
Right.
That's one of my favorite songs by them.
Yeah.
And I just accept it as kind of a green earth, environmental consciousness, hippie kind of celebration of the world and everything that's out there. And I loved it for that, but when I realized that album and that song, they were about commemorating the death of their member, Ricky Wilson,
right,
who was also brothers of Cindy Wilson, who's
right.
also in the band. And when I listened to the lyrics again with that in mind, it's really about, this life is a continuum and how we all exist somewhere, and there's so many things we don't know. It's like, wow, that song hits way heavier than just, there's an ocean, there's a mountain that I've never been to and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And most B-52 songs aren't that weighty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
they're kind of cotton candy songs.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I've mentioned, I don't know when it was, the Lido Shuffle by Buzzscaggs.
Right.
It might have been the last one.
There we did.
I told you some reason I loved that song when I was a kid, and it was great storytelling. I love how the song starts and how he just kicks in with Lido missed the boat that day. He left the shack. And he goes, but that was all he missed. He ain't coming back. And to me, I took that as a kid, and I thought, oh, this guy's going to die. And I thought, no, seriously, I thought he was like some kind of mobster or crime boss, and it's talking about him going here and there, and like one more job before we get it, one more job before we quit it, one more for the road. And there's this momentum increasing and everything. And so I had this whole story about this poor Lido guy who's going to die somehow. Then I found out, years later, it's just a dude singing about performing on the road.
Yeah.
It's just doing another show, some dive bar, and it's like, so I gave it more weight, I guess, than it deserved. But I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, people.
Well, I mean, everyone perceives a song, and you guys form your own conclusions.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's a great thing. Is like just the lyrical pointers that you get. Sometimes they're vague enough, or sometimes you're not listening well enough.
Yeah.
In my case. That you're going to go the wrong way with the song.
Well, Steely Dan does that a lot, too. I mean, My Old School was one of my favorite Steely Dan songs. And it's about, getting the cops raiding their college and people getting arrested, but it's just so happy. It makes me feel good.
I had a suggestion from my father-in-law last night. He loves to offer.
Right.
He always asks, what's the topic this week? But he brought up Del McCoury's version of Vincent Black Lightning.
Yeah.
Because he does it in a very traditional bluegrass style, and bluegrass just in its nature sounds kind of happy and, banjos and harmony singing and everything, but it's a death song.
Right.
It's about an outlaw, a rebel who gets shot by the police and gives his motorcycle to his girlfriend.
Right.
It's got one of my favorite lines in there, black leather and red hair, my favorite color scheme.
Yeah. And he also changed it from Vauxhall to Knoxville.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And when Richard Thompson came here to play, he said, I don't do this But since Del McCurry did it, I'm going to do it, and we're here.
So use Knoxville.
Use Knoxville.
Well, I'm not sure where to go here. I had kind of like a technical breakdown of why I respond the way I do, maybe why other people respond they do. And then I had more kind of superficial things. Should we go into the technical stuff now?
We can. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so my background, as these guys just heard, and I've mentioned it before, it's like I had piano lessons when I was a kid. And my piano teacher told my mom I was her best beginning student she ever had. And it was great. And, and I paid attention and all that stuff. And she died in a car wreck. And when that happened, I didn't want to take piano lessons anymore. It was just, it was just some age. And it was too creepy to think of going to another teacher. So I stopped. And that was basically all my formal education on music. Now, what I remember, one of the few things that I remembered, and I warned you guys both that, I can't possibly teach, the techniques of making music or anything like that. But I remembered major keys and minor keys. Right. And where your hands go for the, it's like a chord is like 3 notes or more. It can be 2 notes, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, but beginning piano kid that I was, you have you have like 3 or 4 notes in between where each finger, your 3 fingers go when you're doing 3 fingers. And the difference between a major chord and a minor chord is just one key off. Okay. So, and I don't know how to explain how they sound different, but you would know, but a lot of people don't even know what those are.
Demonstrate.
Yeah, you could demonstrate, if you want.
I can show you the difference between a major and a minor key.
Yeah. Okay. Well, while you're doing that, then this is impromptu, people. Basically, the very very basic is a major chord sounds happy and a minor chord sounds sad. And there are a lot of other,
There's lots of variations.
There's lots of variations in that, but that is just the basic of most basic.
Yeah.
So John's got his guitar here.
Here's a D major.
Okay.
Here's a D minor.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect.
Happy?
Yes.
Sad?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Now I don't have to ramble and not be able to explain what I'm saying. So anyway, most artists, the most common chords are major chords that people use, but the more sophisticated that songwriters are, the more they layer in major and minor chords, and sometimes people do. Well, lots of songs are just minor chord based. You're about to say something?
Well, a lot of times when they're basing on the blues, and the blues is lots of minor chords.
Right. Okay. That's
so.
True.
There's lots
that's
of
true.
things, and bluegrass and all.
Right.
There's certain things where minor chords are prevalent.
Right. That's fair. But I'm thinking, pop and country and rock and But so we have this conditioned response to major chords, and like major chords in an up tempo, especially, you're going to be happy, so to speak.
Right.
Minor chords, lower tempo, you're going to be sad or mysterious or scared or whatever. When the more sophisticated artists mix up how they're writing these chords, that's when you don't have a conditioned response anymore, because you got to go with it, and you're going back and forth, and it becomes much more subjective, because it's like, you're listening to the lyrics and you're listening to the vocals and the melodies, and then the chord progressions change and the keys change. And I think that's where a lot of people start differing from each other on how they're going to respond to the songs. And
there are people like, we talked about this before we went on the air. It's like Weezer.
Yeah.
Rivers Cuomo writes with all these very minor chords that like make the hair stand up on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make me sad. It just there's something about these odd chords that he does that like it's like kind of that scrape that actually feels good. It's like scratching an itch kind of.
Yeah.
And people can do that.
Well, I think it's actually pretty rare for there to be a song that's all major keys or all minor keys.
Right.
If you write a song and they're all major keys, the song gets really boring really fast.
Yeah.
You got to mix them together to keep your interest.
Right.
And then even more advanced, you get into augmented chords and seventh chords, and those add a whole different flavor.
Right.
And that's just comes with learning how to do it.
Right. And like we were talking about earlier, it's like like the Beatles, like a lot of artists, they'll generally emphasize major chords in the beginning of their careers.
Well, I think probably the one that stands out to me by the Beatles is, I mean, you've heard, you got all the stuff on Meet the Beatles. I think it sounds all pretty major. But then you get to If I Fell on the Hard Day's Night album. It's like, it does something.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's their deepest early song.
Right.
And part of it is that they're playing it in this minor key, and it's like, it fits it because it's a song about, well, okay, if I go with you and leave this girl, what's it going to do to her?
Right. And yeah, and I think that when I hear minor prominence, that's like, something's going on. It's like I'm investing more. Like, what am I hearing here? Why are they doing? It's like, and a lot of times I'm not sophisticated enough myself to even realize that unless I backtrack. I was like, that was a minor chord at that point. So, but and there are a lot of artists, just for a reflection on like songs that are minor key bass or prominent. Everything. I went over these Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits.
Great song.
Happy by Pharrell Williams.
Which I was surprised. I didn't think about that one.
But if you think about it, you can kind of hear that. You can hear that difference. And you would expect Happy would be, major chord. Creep by Radiohead, no surprise.
Right.
Nirvana, a lot of the grunge. But Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's kind of a cornerstone of grunge, really. Is to have that kind of mind. Survivor by Destiny's Child, that was a surprise to me, but when I go back and think about it, it's like, that's right, it does have that. I don't even know, I'm using hand signals to indicate minor, but I don't but anyway, Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, which made me go back and look through Lady Gaga's category, and it's like, or her songs, and I've said, there are a lot of songs of hers I don't like, but she always has one or two really good ones, and I was looking at the ones that I really like. Minor chord is prominent in those, and then the ones that are major chord, I don't like those, and that's just her.
Yeah.
But and I found a lot of exceptions in how people mix it up. I don't know if you've got any. Hurt, of course, by 9 Inch Nails. Counting Stars, more recent song by One Republic, minor chords. So there is a big variety of them, but they just sound different to me. To me, major is the default. So I'm not necessarily digging, but when I hear something coming at me a little off.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there are artists that work predominantly in a certain shade or another. I mean, you brought up Radiohead. They don't have a whole lot of real major key songs. They're kind of, I mean, I love Radiohead, but other people who don't like them as much, their complaint is they're just so dreary and dark. And the other is that they're really weird, and they are. But But that's what intrigues me.
Yeah, and I found some one thing. Billie Eilish I thought was interesting because tempo also plays a factor. If you double down with major up tempo, then you're going one way. But she has like her two of her faster songs, "Bad Guy" and "Oxytocin," are Yes, those are up-tempo minor key songs.
Right.
But and then two of her other biggest songs, "What Was I Made For" and "Birds of a Feather," those are down-tempo major key songs. So I think it's kind of cool. And she's got her brother's a brilliant producer and everything. I'm sure he probably had a big hand in those songs being that way. But that's how they can play up with it, and you got to react to what they're feeding you. So.
Well, I brought up the Beautiful South a lot of times. That's one of the things I like about them is they'll have, and they work in both of those.
Right. But
it sounds happy. It sounds like, oh, this is a sweet love song. And you listen to the words and it's like, oh, hell. And that makes me like them that much more.
Exactly.
Because they give you something you didn't expect. I think, when a song makes you feel, when you think you got it right at the outset and it turns around and bites you in the ass, that's when I love it.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a DB song, Amplifier. It's a real upbeat, happy, major key song, but it's about the singer's girlfriend came and just stole everything he had, and the only thing that she left was his amplifier. And it's real happy sounding, but
Right.
then like she just took everything.
Well, he got the amplifier.
And the first line of the song is Danny went home and killed himself last night.
Oh my God.
Where do you go from there?
Yeah, really.
Well, I want to recommend some videos I found on YouTube. They're by a guy, I guess he's an online music educator, David Bennett. And I'm sure other people do this too, but he had some really big views for, and it's called Changing Songs from Major to Minor. And he also does minor to major, and he has some kind of equipment. It's the sponsor of these videos. But he takes songs and flips them, and he's got songs by Olivia Rodrigo and Chappell Roan and the Killers and the Beatles. Journey, the Animals, including Radiohead's Creep. They put that in a major key, and it's
Oh my
like,
God.
what the hell? But the best of all was Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams Are Made of This by Eurythmics.
Right.
He put that in a major key. And it just sounds like this angelic song. It's just like it completely changes how that song sounds. So if people want to find out more about this, David Bennett on YouTube, Changing Songs from Major to Minor, listen to that, and you can see just how much that does have an impact on what the song sounds like.
Well, I'd like to recommend another YouTube video artist that you can go that she analyzes songs. She's particularly fascinated with Radiohead and Nine Inch Nails. She doesn't change the chords, but she analyzes the chords and their relation to each other and the psychological impact of those chords against each other.
Right.
And her name is Ixi, I-X-I. And she just sits facing the camera with a keyboard, and she just plays
I may have seen her.
and she's great.
Yeah.
It's the psychology of music is kind of her subject matter
Yeah.
and how chords make you feel.
Well, there's all sorts of people that's like, okay, these 4 chords will make you feel good. And they always use them.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do. And it's you're comfortable with that. If you hear something and it's what you're expecting it to be, there's something to be appreciated about that.
Yeah.
But, if they're challenging you, obviously if it works, then that's going to be more rewarding, I think, to have something unexpected thrown at you.
It's interesting. There's so much gospel music that's in minor chords,
Really?
or minor keys. And it's like, okay, let's go to church and get depressed.
Well, yeah, and, I mean, minor keys have kind of a weight to them,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but I always hated church music growing up. Of course,
why? Because of the
went to a
religious-
white Baptist church. No, it's just it was awful. It was just awful music for the most part. And it was like, I think it was Larry Norman, who released an album that said, "Why should the devil have all the good music?"
Right.
It's like, really, if you believe in God, you think he likes this bad music? I
don't know. I know a lot of wonderful people I respect who like terrible music. So
Well, I do. I know that too. Hey,
yeah, I'm
Was that
looking
a
at
dig?
you, Wayne.
I
Your
know.
guitars.
oh,
Well, and that was something we want to talk about instruments too, and how they affect us, and how people expect them to impact.
Right.
Again, with my little boyhood piano lessons, I have an affinity toward piano and keyboards, and branching out. I love rhythm sections. I've always been interested in beats per minute and backbeats. I love it when people do something cool with backbeats and the bass, and I love the flow. That's the movement in the song to me. And I like horns, and each horn sounds different. I was telling you that like trumpets are like, kind of other, unless they're playing taps or something, they're like celebratory, the brassy trumpet, and then the saxophone is more of it just in my feeling is more used in kind of a romantic or sexual kind of intonations. And then, like, if you go to woodwinds, like, I'm losing you. Uh-oh.
No. I got something to add.
Okay. So, like, woodwinds, like oboe and clarinet, those have kind of like a mystery to them, to me, And violins, violins have kind of a weight that cellos double down. I mean, the cello has so much, heft to them.
Well, the cello
they can be mournful or somber.
cellos and saxophones are the closest to the range of the human voice.
Okay.
That's why cellos are so attractive.
Right.
And
to your
why
ear.
sexy? I'm glad that something close to a human voice is sexy to me instead of
Well, and I think when you get into woodwinds, clarinet is one thing because clarinet and sax both are single reed instruments, and they kind of have a little sort of a brassy sound. But oboes and bassoons are double reed instruments, and they've got a real, very subtle tone to them. And I always think that they are kind of weird and twisted and
more throaty. Too.
Yeah. I remember my grandmother she was on the board of the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra for all of her life, and she just loved classical music, and she took me to see The Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, and that is just such a beautiful piece of music because it introduces each section and each different instrument, and
that's great.
So that always stood out to me.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I love if something adding a cello to a song, as long as it's not like a dance song or something, adding the cello to it like nearly always makes it better.
Yeah.
I used to love French horns when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because there was a sound that it sounded like morning, when they play that French horn. Of course, with a French horn, they have to stick their hand in the sound hole and manipulate the sound hole with their hand. Right. Which I thought was always really strange.
And they always sound a lot more muted than other brass instruments.
Yeah, I guess it's because they got a fist in there.
Yeah. That'll mute anybody.
Yeah, but it always
get a fist in you.
Where's that sign?
I don't know, but it wasn't.
I didn't know the turn this is going to take.
Anyway, yeah.
But in trombones, trombones don't get a lot of attention.
No,
but I think that the
kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, but the tones on a trombone, I particularly love those.
Somehow, trombone with it having the slide gives it a sense of humor. It's the drunken sailor, I think. It's like anytime I ever play an instrument, a stringed instrument that doesn't have frets on it, or like if I'm playing a slide guitar, it's always the drunken sailor because you never hit right on the note. It's always a little sharp or a little flat.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
Dizzy Gillespie. When I was talking with Dizzy Gillespie, of course, he was a great trumpet player. But I started asking him about other instruments, and I said, because at the time there were like these hotshot trombone players coming up, like Bill Watrous, and I can't think of the other one that was a big deal at the time. But he goes, "Yep, now they sound like they've got valves. Didn't used to sound like they've got valves, but now they do."
And they make trombones that have valves.
Yeah, they do have valve trombones, but it was just like people getting a hold of those instruments and doing something different. It's like Bela Fleck with the banjo. I mean, you have this idea of there used to be two types of banjo: the Dixieland banjo that's strummed, and then the bluegrass banjo that was plucked.
Okay.
And then Bela Fleck comes along and starts out in bluegrass, and then makes it into starts playing jazz banjo,
right,
and playing everything on it. So it's fun to watch those instruments change when people get a hold of them and say, "I can do something different."
And that's one reason we're going to have, back to the topic, is like that's why you might have a reaction because, I like the sax or I love percussion.
Yeah.
If I hear percussion in a song, I get so excited because, so much of what I listen to, they don't bother with percussion, but I hear it and it's like, and I feel this joy no matter what they're trying to do. It's like, I feel this extra enthusiasm for it because it's something different.
Yeah.
Well, I really think as a recordist of music here in the studio, a song isn't finished until you've added tambourine and shakers, and it's not something that hits you over the head, but it makes a song sound finished.
But sometimes it depends. I mean, you think about some of the older blues folks who just are them with a guitar, and it's like you added anything to that, it takes away.
I'm not saying it's right for everything.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a pretty vital part of finishing a song off.
Right.
Is adding the little percussion touches.
Yeah.
A triangle here or a.
Well, the thing about percussion is so many people just do the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
And then you get somebody like a Glenn Cochee who's in Wilco who does everything. I mean, like there was
Sheila.
Yeah.
I think she can play every percussion.
Yeah. But with him, it's like, there was an ad for Kohler or something, one of the faucets, and he's like playing the sink.
Yeah, because it was the faucets that if you touch them,
yeah, that's right,
the water would come out, and he would just like touching different ones and making. He played at Big Ears. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah,
and
I've
he had these
several
little
times.
electronic things that he opened up, and the first one he opened up, and it made a sound like a cricket. Then he opened another one, and it was a second cricket. And he opened up like 25 of them. Pretty soon, it was just a whole chorus of crickets, and he started. That was just one layer of what he did.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. You'd like him.
Yeah, I'm sure I would.
He's very different.
Another great percussionist is Ray Cooper.
Yeah,
with Elton John.
Oh, okay.
those songs all sound finished because of him.
Yeah, it
Oh.
does. It just adds an extra layer, and whether you're even aware of what you're listening to, that extra layer will work its way into your brain and think, hey, I like this song for some reason.
Well, I saw another thing I saw at Big Ears one time is Neef North, and I think it was Bang on a Can or one of the other groups, but they accompanied a documentary about a fireworks factory in Mexico. And it was one of the best musical things I've ever seen because it was all percussion. Mm-hmm. And this is a movie that did not have music to it, and they make this music, and man, there is nothing that sounds better with fireworks than all this percussion.
Yeah.
And then people like the composer Eric Satie, they use one of his pieces. I mean, they used it in I'll think of the movie in a minute, but it's been in several movies through the years because it's just this really pretty percussive piece.
Mm-hmm. Is there any songs you all can think of that had something odd done to it to make it? I was thinking of some of the weirdest songs that I can remember. It was like digging back in those, and like I knew there was something about "How Soon Is Now" by the Smiths, right? And it's like you got the shrill, wailing parts of the guitar. And then, of course, it's a very emotional song for Morrissey, and he actually sounds convincing in this song.
I think Morrissey sounds convincing.
But it's the tremolo on the guitar.
Yeah.
And if you listen to that, it's not as obvious as all this other stuff going on in the song.
That kind of makes the rhythm of the song.
Just
that
kind of wobbly thing just going through the whole song.
Johnny Marr is the reason I like the Smiths.
Yeah, well, a lot of people do. I mean,
his
Morrissey's
guitar
not
stuff
likable.
is great.
Yeah. Largely not likable. Another song I like, and I saw people trying to define it, but it's the Susie and the Banshees song, Peekaboo, which everything about it, and it was meant to be an affront to all of your senses and everything. I think one of my favorite parts is they took, who was it? Who did the song Gun? John Cale?
There is a good song about
So they
they
play that and they reverse tape it and they use it as an accent on irregular backbeats. Mm-hmm. And just everything about it just sounds like a circus, even though they're using general instruments and everything. But they created that song to be as unusual as they could, and it worked with me. And some people are like, I don't really like that song. I don't know. I don't know how to take that song. It's all about the song is about a stripper,
right?
And all the creepy guys who are paying her and watching her and all this stuff. But anyway, it's just like a strange carnival of sound that they went out of their way to make everything about it different and not really start.
Well, there's always the people too that play pieces. They'll record something and then play it backwards.
Yeah,
and then play forward over it.
Yeah,
and so I think actually Tomorrow Never Knows. Actually, Ringo is playing the drums forward, but it kind of sounds like it's backwards because of that. It sounds like it's coming off the beat.
Evaporating. It sounds like you're going backward. And that's kind of how Peekaboo sounds too. It's like you're just sort of like, whoops.
But that's probably the biggest thing I love about that song is the drums because that's what puts me someplace else.
Yeah. And I like to go someplace else, but I don't know where I'm going to end up. And that's why I say that's why you don't know what kind of reaction. When you again, if you don't have a conditioned response to what you're hearing, then you got to make it up as you go, and you just got to react to it in a way.
Well, what's interesting is, while we're on this aspect of it, is you think about slow-moving classical pieces like Philip Glass or Steve Reich or Henryk Górecki. Górecki has the Symphony No. 5 that you don't know what you feel about it. It's very kind of slow and mournful, but you're not expecting that 10 minutes into it, all of a sudden, it's going to sound so overwhelming that it's going to make you feel like crying.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that, talk about slow and talk about the reverse of pop. This is something that's like you got to be paying attention, and it comes up and sneaks up on you, and it's like, damn, where'd that come from, and why am I feeling this?
Yeah, I feel that way with a lot of music that just all of a sudden I want to cry, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I'm sad or if it's just beautiful.
But sometimes it's those people who figured out these chords
Yep.
hit deep
Yeah.
and will make people feel
Right.
this, nostalgia or whatever. I mean,
Or they hit the brown note.
I don't believe the brown note.
Have you ever heard the brown note?
I think I have.
It's a mythical note that
Okay.
is so
Yeah,
low that
yeah.
it loosens everything in your body.
Yeah, I feel like that was a South Park episode maybe or something.
Well, Frank.
But to your point, where your brain processes sound is adjacent right to your emotional center. I mean, it's like music makes you feel, even without intellect involved, it just goes straight into your feelings. That's what's magic about music.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and you think about it. I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, you have music for every big event, and there's a reason because you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one of the reasons that, like, there's some religions that forbid music because it's so powerful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there's a great book by David Byrne called How Music Works.
Uh-huh.
And the opening, he's talking about early liturgical music was designed because it was only to be sung in
Right.
gigantic cathedral spaces
Yeah.
that are just full of echo, and there's no way you can do anything small and tight and percussive because it just gets lost in the ether.
No
And so
subtleties.
most early liturgical music is very modular and very slow washing kind of stuff, just because that's where it was designed to be heard.
Like those synthetic waves that Wayne has.
That's different. That's totally different. Well, I mean, we saw a show not too long ago in a cathedral, and the sound was terrible because they put electric instruments in there, and it's like you shouldn't have amplified these at all. You just needed to just go without, but they wouldn't.
Right.
So
Well, here's one that always strikes me as the music doesn't match the content.
what?
And it's the song Knoxville Girl,
Oh yeah.
because it sounds like a happy bluegrass song, but it is the most dark. I mean, they're just walking along a path, and all of a sudden he just beats his girlfriend to death and drags her around by her hair. And you're like, where did that come from?
Well, it's funny because you can hear my favorite version of that is by the Lemonheads because they make it scary.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have that kind of cheerful lilt to it.
Right.
It's just dark.
Well, that's a dark song.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's
It's an old, old English murder ballad that was just been adapted to.
yeah, it's based on The Bloody Butcher, which was about a real murder back in the late 1600s. And it made all sorts of different permutations, through the years. And probably several different songs have their basis in it.
We haven't talked about vocals and singers yet,
Yeah.
but those a lot of times have major impact on how you respond, either with your associations with the vocalist or your reaction to their voice. There are some singers, just about any time they sing anything, I could cry.
Yeah.
And it's like Lisa Gerard of Dead Can Dance. I've talked about it. She's got this otherworldly voice. She doesn't sing in any language. It's a made-up language, so the lyrics have no impact at all. But just when she goes, you just, I just feel overwhelmed by it. Of course, Jane Seabury, I know you like her too. And a newer singer from Canada, Hannah Georges. I feel that way with her. And of course, Kate Bush.
Right.
But it's just like, are there singers for you all that just like when you start hearing it, you just overwhelmed, you're just taking it in.
Right. Well, some of them is like Anthony, who used to be Anthony, with Antonina Johnson's. I can't listen to a whole lot of her because it is too emotional.
Yeah.
She is just, you feel like she is just pouring her heart out in every song, and it doesn't feel phony. It feels real. And I mean, if I listen to a whole album, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Because it's
it can
taken
be overkill. I mean, it can be too much.
Well, it's overwhelming. Yeah. I mean, I think she's great. I love her stuff. But it's like, Alison Krauss. But Alison Krauss always found the most depressing songs to cover.
Right.
Anthony's writing them.
Right.
But I love Alison Krauss to death. But, man, when you finish an album, it's just like, okay, I need a drink.
I think of I don't know how to pronounce his name. He's the singer for Sigur Rós.
Yeah.
Jonsi. It's
Jonsi.
Jonsi.
They're Icelandic, right?
They're
It might
Icelandic.
be like Jonsi. I just get. I don't know, but yeah. Go ahead.
And they sing in their own made-up language. They call it
Yeah.
Hopelandic.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter. He's just making syllables. But
Yeah.
his voice is just really high and really ethereal. They did a movie. It's called Heima, Heima, Heima. And it's them. They had just come off of the road opening for Radiohead all around the world. And they came back to Iceland. And they filmed themselves performing in all these odd, out-of-the-way places. Like there's one song they do with all acoustic instruments out on the tundra. And they do another one where they get lowered down into a big cistern. And they they show scenes of Iceland. And this one song, it's the title track. I can try and say the name of it. It's Aegisbergum. It doesn't, but it has got this most amazing melody, and the band is set up in a wooden gymnasium, just in like an elementary school, just really nice and warm, and it's intercut with scenes of families playing with their kids on the black sand beach of Iceland. And you just see these kids having fun playing in the waves and playing in the black sand, and this beautiful, beautiful song, and that really, that makes me well up.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that people can sing something in a different language and you still feel it. There's a Italian singer called Franco Battiato, and he's got a song called Povera Patria, which means poor country.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't know what the lyrics are to it, but I feel like, I think I feel exactly what he wants me to feel when he sings it. It's like this feeling of sadness and nostalgia for something better, and, you know, you get it. And there's like, I brought up the Taiwanese group, Wulu Banoon, before, and they have a song called Loga.
Sometimes I think you're just making stuff
Yeah, I'm just
up.
making it all up, Chuck. Loga Loga Kan Ibe, which the translation is diligent child.
Okay.
And, you know, it's something in that. Here in this whole community, it's like a community of people who sing it with a cello. Man, I feel it. It just absolutely gets somewhere down in my soul that, you know, it reaches something. I can't exactly explain what it is. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what the lyrics mean. I just know the feel.
There are some singers, too, who have maybe even a more limited range, but heavy impact. For me, Amy Mann doesn't really do a lot with her voice.
Right.
But it's just got this weariness to it.
Yep.
And wryness to it. It's like you're laughing and crying for it.
She writes some really killer couplets.
She does. She does. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's another thing. Is like sometimes the people who can like turn a phrase, and that'll catch me off guard. And one phrase in a song can be enough to make me feel, you know, something.
Wayne and I were just talking about this before you got here. The line about you look like a perfect fit for a girl in need of a tourniquet.
Yeah.
Which is just, you think at first, oh, this has got promise, but no, she's bleeding to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but that is the good thing about her and other songwriters like that. That you listen to it and you go, oh, I don't think I know what this means. I'm going to listen to it again, and then you get it, and it's like, it's great.
I'm thinking of the San Francisco band American Music Club. And they put out an album in 1994 entitled San Francisco. And the first song on it is a song called Fearless. And Mark Eitzel is the singer. And he's notorious, has had bad alcohol problems, and his life is a shambles. And he sings very honestly about it. But that first song on that record, it's Lost Again in Your Eyes. And it's just the way he sings it.
Yeah.
It's just that sucked me into that album. I love that album so much.
Well, you know, the voice that gets me, that, I mean, very famous, is Billie Holiday. She could sing anything. She had very little range. I mean, there was not much to her voice at all, especially toward the end. But something about it just always gets me. I mean, I'd never turn her
I know you
off.
don't care for someone, but someone else who has kind of a limited range, but they're making the most of it, is Lana Del Rey.
I like her
She
too.
doesn't like have a big range. She doesn't sing bright and fuzzy or anything like that. It's just that kind of Amy Mann, just steady on.
Yeah.
but you've got just where she's at, the whole
Right,
time.
and they're serving the song rather than giving you a bunch of fireworks.
Right. Yeah, I know.
And that's
like
what
the
I like.
fireworks.
Well, every now and then, I mean, there's a local person, I'm not going to say her name, but that I like a whole lot. But she always sings with vibrato.
Right.
And it's like you want to tell her,
use it more sparingly.
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be way more
It'd be
special,
more effective. Yeah.
if you
I
just
agree.
backed off. And that's the way most singers are now. Is they just, I've got to give everything I've got. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, you don't.
Restraint is too seldom used.
Right,
Yeah.
and then when you come out and you nail it with something really powerful, then you're pinned to the wall.
But there's a power in understatement too.
Yeah.
It's just like if you have to meet them halfway and listen, then it can be more rewarding too.
Well, we talk about Nick Drake. I mean, John and I talk about Nick Drake a lot, and he's one of those voices where it's like, great voice, doesn't do much, but
It suits the songs.
and you feel it.
Another singer that combination of her lyrics and her voices that just really takes me away is Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love some Joni Mitchell.
And her stuff, I mean, she has so many different styles and so many different things going on.
She's such an amazing poet.
Yeah.
Her songs are just,
Yeah, I was just thinking, just a lot of the biggest stars, they have that talent somewhere.
Right.
They have, obviously the Beatles did. Prince, he could slide a line into a song.
Mm-hmm.
Even I'm Sheryl Crow, I always like her. Taylor Swift's kind of the queen of it today.
Yeah.
She'll be singing a song and it'll be straightforward, and then just like a little clever line will come in, another little clever line, and it all weaves together. It's like, and it elevates the game forward.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it's like Paul Simon and Stevie Nicks, and I was just started writing all kinds of random people, Burt Bacharach or whatever.
I
It's
had
like,
Burt Bacharach
Yes.
as Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. It sounds like a happy song, but it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is.
And it's the end of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
It's not the end. It's in the beginning.
Oh, in the beginning, yeah. Sorry. This one Bob recommended, my father-in-law.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. Well, I want to ask you guys, does it bother you when a song tells you how to feel? Because it pisses me off.
Yeah.
I don't like, it's the reason I don't like Pink. I don't like that party song that Pink had, her first big hit.
Get the party started?
Yeah, Get the Party Started.
She hates that song.
Does
I
she?
don't know if she refuses to do it. She hates it. She said it was a stupid song, and as soon as she started having it, you should
Well, I like her better now.
She hates that song. She really does.
I did too.
I feel guilty if I've listened to it because it's like, I know she doesn't want anyone to listen to this song. Let's Get the Party Started by Pink,
I have the opposite reaction when somebody in any kind of art is telling me, this is what you need to feel.
Right, yeah.
And I think there's so much of it, especially.
She was just a kid in the hands of a lot of producers, so.
Okay, well, I'll
that's just
listen.
what they forced her to do. But
I'll try to listen to some
give her a
Pink now.
break, yeah.
Is it the Partridge Family theme song? Come on, get
Come
happy.
on, get happy. Well, but the thing with like that, I mean, I like the Partridge Family, but it's just like, to me, it's so silly.
Sunshine Pop,
I mean, it doesn't.
If it goes that far, I guess, it's like, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't like listen to that driving down the road or something. But
What about when James Brown and Fred Wesley are going, get up, get on up?
that's different. That's James Brown. James Brown's telling you to do
He's in
something.
a
You
category
probably
of
won't
his
do
own.
it.
I don't like that. I don't like the get on up, I don't like being told whether I'm standing or sitting. Everybody come on now,
Yeah.
Everybody sing along. It's like, well,
No.
Everybody get down.
For some
Get back up again.
that reminds me of the comedian who's talking about she was going to a Diana Ross concert and she goes, everybody sing, reach out and touch. Come on, everybody sing. And she's like, for $80 a ticket, you sing, Diana.
Well, I agree with that. I used to get irritated in concerts with that when they would stop and let the audience sing. It's like, I didn't pay to hear the audience. I don't like the audience. The audience is off key anyway.
Yeah.
One person that can get away with it, though, and he does a great job, is Ben Folds.
Oh, yeah.
He'll get one half of the audience singing one part and the other half singing the other part, and then he'll sing his part while they're...
Yeah. But with Ben Folds, he's actually creating something. It's
yeah.
not just the same old thing. It's like, that's part of the show.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, Ben Folds just commands the audience when he plays. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is an offbeat topic. Maybe y'all won't have any examples.
I got one more thing about being told what to do. What do you think about the hokey pokey?
Well, okay.
What if I don't want to put my right?
Yeah, there we go.
That's what it's all
There we
about.
go.
So,
All right, before we move on, patriotic songs. piss me
Okay.
off most of the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like I am extremely patriotic.
Right.
But, I like This Land Is Your Land and Power and the Glory by Phil Oakes. But, God Bless the USA pisses me off.
What about Proud to be a
Well-
Canadian?
Yeah, really. I mean, that's the thing. Is Lee Greenwood would sell that song to him. He's probably got a version for Kuwait. I'm proud to be a Kuwaitian.
Is that what they're called?
I guess. I don't know. But
Definitely anyone who's
Well, we just
trying
lost
to,
all our listeners in Kuwait.
no, we didn't.
anyone who's trying to monetize pandering
Exactly.
to patriotism. That's just their... It reeks of insincerity. You know?
Exactly.
So that's the worst thing you can do if you want people to feel patriotic is don't, cash in and all that.
Yeah,
But
I feel
what
the
do you think
opposite.
about people who like scream or yell in songs? And I've got a couple of examples.
It depends. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yeah.
I was very alarmed, and these songs kind of came out at the same time when I was young, but Blondie did a song called Victor, and Debbie Harry is like just screaming and howling and just like she's being murdered in it. And the other one is Chrissy Hine screaming in Bad Boys Get Spanked.
Oh, yeah.
The dun dun. And both of those were alarming because these were singers that I'd heard before, and I was a kid, and then they were both just like yelling and screaming, and it was. But there was kind of an art to Chrissy Hines because it was in like this echo thing,
Yeah.
and she was like playing with her vocalizations on that song. But and she's talking about spanking boys and crying, screaming. So
Well, I mean, sometimes a song has so much emotion in it that
Yeah,
the words
just let it
don't.
out.
You got to scream.
yeah,
There's a Drive-By Trucker song, people putting people on the moon, and Patterson Hood doesn't have the best screaming voice, but it's talking about his wife dying of cancer and losing his job and all this other stuff. The character in the song, and then at one point he just screams, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that was the appropriate response in this song. It's like I needed that.
But the thing about that though is like when you hear it live and it's like, well, here comes the part where they scream, it feels a little different. If a recording it sounds good, but if okay, they're gonna, and that can be like or humming or whistling or something like that, some like little thing that sounds off the cuff in a recording.
Yeah.
But then they do it in every song, and all of a sudden it's like, or giggling or laughing. There are always songs where people, you probably don't hear as many of these as I do, but where, there's a point where they ha ha ha, or something like that. And then
Yeah.
they have to do it night after night, every time.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. That
I'd get tired of that.
feels a little off.
But there's some artists that's just part of their thing. I mean, like
Right.
Yeah.
like when you listen to the Stooges' Funhouse, Iggy Pop is screaming on that album,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
that's what it needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Funhouse and the other ones too. TVI, that song, that starts out with one of the best screams of all
Yeah,
time. I used to start off my radio show with it a lot of times.
Well, I also had kind of emotional cues where you may have a personal experience with a song or a feeling about a song that...
Or more than a feeling.
or more than a feeling. Yeah, if you want to... Is that Boston?
It is Boston.
You're bringing
Yes.
Boston
Oh,
up.
there he goes. There he goes.
Oh, man.
Boston
Geographic
rules. That first album's great.
Geographic.
Sounds so good.
Anyway, yes, yes, that, and for me, like I've told you this story months ago, but it's I was listening to. I had a remix version. It was a Blondie song, "War Child," and it's just got this big aggressive. It's like an 8-minute version, the extended mix, and there's a point in it where it's just like all commotion and no one singing or anything. And that was the song that Robert, I had on playing it in my car, and he just started screaming, "I'm depressed. I'm so depressed." And now that's all I can think of, when I hear that is him being depressed and screaming about being depressed because he didn't want to hear this instrumental crap anymore. And it wouldn't stop. And it just kept going on. But, there's some like, I told you the story about Larry Lee and the song
Right.
Sunny Day by Book of Love.
Yeah.
And then he was murdered, and obviously that song feels different. But even like my dad used to sing Tennessee Waltz to me, all the time. And now when I hear that, I think of him. And even artists themselves, like sometimes their music sounds different after they die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard. I mean, after seeing that documentary on Amy Winehouse, as much as I loved Amy Winehouse's music, man, it takes me back to that movie, and it hurts.
Yeah. And I even feel that way with, maybe Prince or, Whitney Houston or something like that. I hear them. And Olivia Newton-John. It's like now when I hear Xanadu, the most upbeat celebratory song ever done, And now I hear it, and I just think, oh, she's gone, and it's just, it feels different. It hits different now.
Well, I mean, to some extent, though, when the artist has died, listening to their music makes me feel good because it keeps them alive. They're alive in your head.
Well, there's that too. It's kind of it's a bittersweet feeling. It's like I remember the happiness the song brought me, even if it's not bringing that to me really the same way anymore.
Yeah.
My wife and I were on vacation when David Bowie died, and I woke up in the morning and there it was on my phone, and so I just listened to David Bowie all day long.
Yeah.
We were in Jamaica and just played one album after another, and then right after the sunset, there was still some color in the sky, and I decided I was going to listen to Black Star, and so I got on and I watched the video for Lazarus, which was the first single off there, and the first line of the song is "Look up here, Mom, I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
Everybody knows my name.
Yeah.
I got scars that can't be seen." And
was that his last album?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was released the day before he died. I mean, he intended for that to happen.
Yeah.
I think and that was his gift. When I saw that Lazarus, I just was telling Les, I started crying, and I was like, I don't know what's happening to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens.
That album is just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great album.
And it's kind of hard to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much more minor point, but this band, Greeting Committee, they're from Kansas, and they have this song called "Is This It?" And the song, it's a pretty song. The singer, it's what's her name, Addie Sartino. She has this beautiful voice, but it's just kind of a peppy song, but it's got all these points both in the song and in the video itself, where she's talking about waking up in her bed, but it's in a stranger's house, and she's having a flashback to childhood, and she's looking around at her friends, and the whole scene plays out in this house, and all of her friends are having a party there, and they're like silly people, and then they're like taking drugs, and there's this little girl that's shadowing her, and that's herself, and so she's like keeping the kid away, like she's starting to take some drugs, and she keeps her away from that, and at one point she's in the bathroom, the singer is, and there are these two people from the party making out in the tub next to her, So all these people are, and it's just sort of this reaction she has to this kind of frivolous world that she's in. And she's talking about her friends, taking the drugs to cure something that doesn't exist, cure a disease that doesn't exist, and all that. But the voice is so beautiful, and the chorus is so beautiful, and there's such a comedic edge to it. Oh, and her bandmates, especially the lead guy, he has this little saxophone, and they're three of them, and they're dressed like a little marching band, and they keep popping up in the video, and they're trying to push their way out of a closet to her, but the song, it's questioning, why we're here, and is there nothing more to life and everything, and it just has this ending that in the video and just the song itself, it just kind of dies. The song, and it's like in the video, it gets darker and darker, and she's running through the house with the little girl and still trying to protect her, and then it just goes black, and it's just, I don't know why. It's just something about that song and the meaning, and then the little, the saxophone, it's like that's a pointer, and they just constructed it so well. And I'm over talking, but it's just one of those songs that every time I watch it, it's like I know if I watch the end, I'm going to cry. So it's just weird.
Interesting.
So,
Well,
cool.
Music is very powerful.
Yeah.
Want to go to recommendations?
Oh, Wayne doesn't want to open up.
What?
John and I are practically in tears now, thinking about David Bowie and the Greeting Committee. But that's all right. No. We should move on to recommendations, I think, anyway. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to recommend?
Well, let me recommend. The thing is, the movie I just saw. Mm-hmm. I'm not exactly recommending it.
Okay.
I finally saw The Brutalist.
Okay.
Nominated for Best
Long
Picture
movie.
for 2025. 3.5 hours long. Long movie. Absolutely beautiful to watch. The cinematography is gorgeous. It's it's probably the best cinematography I've seen in a movie in I don't know how long. And it's made to be big. And the first half of it, I was all in. And then they have an intermission, which when you watch it on TV, the intermission is like 1 minute.
Right.
That's not enough time to pee.
No, it's not enough time to pee, but you could put it on pause, which I did. But the second half, and I went to look at what other people said, and a lot of people agreed with me. The second half just loses all the grandeur and all the how good the first half is. And I was kind of
What
pissed.
is it even really about?
It is about a man who has survived the Holocaust, who comes to the United States, and one of his friends who's already in the United States gives him a job at the furniture store. But what he is he's a great architect. He's Hungarian, and he had made these buildings in Budapest. This is fictional, but it's presented like it's real. And he has a wife and a niece still stuck overseas, and he's trying to get them back. And he is discovered sort of by a rich fella, and he becomes sort of his sponsor.
Okay.
And I don't want to say too much about what goes on
I'm
after
just trying
that.
to figure out 3.5 hours of exposition, something
It
like
is, it's well, like the first half is exposition, and then the second half, I think, just absolutely loses the thread.
that. Does it? Are we in the concentration camp?
No.
with him?
No, you never-
So we don't even get that.
No, and
Okay.
I'm glad about that.
Okay.
It all starts with
It's
him
mainly about architecture, isn't it?
sort of.
Or this young architect's development.
It is the theme which is beat into you by the end of it with something that happens is how capitalism screws over art.
Okay.
And I get that.
Yeah.
I didn't need to.
Didn't need to go on for 3.5 hours.
Didn't need to have to go, and a pivotal thing in it does not need to happen.
Okay.
You know, and he's got all these problems. He starts using heroin, which was kind of unnecessary in the story, I thought too, but it plays into the other thing that happens, which I don't want to tell you. But it's all the acclaim this got. I was surprised at what it turned out to be.
Who is the main guy?
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody. Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, all the acting is good. Adrian Brody is great, but I just don't think that it was all that.
Well, I won't be watching it.
Yeah,
I don't think I will either.
it was not. I mean, when you've got 3.5 hours, you want it to be Lawrence of Arabia. You want it to be, Apocalypse Now. You want it to be something huge, and it looks like it's huge. It's so pretty, and the set, the way they've set up the scenes
How
is
much
gorgeous.
of it is in Hungary? Is it in America?
It's all in
mainly?
America.
All in America. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it opens with him. You don't know where he is. You think he's in the concentration camp, but what he is that he's in the hold of a ship, and they look out and they see the Statue of Liberty. But it's
Okay.
after we're done, I'll tell you what happens. It pissed me off, but it was just like I can't recommend it, but it's also not what some people are saying about a waste of time and boring. It's not really boring, but I got pissed off the end.
It's visually appealing, at least.
It's visually appealing. The
for
acting
the
is
whole
good.
3.5 hours, or is that
No, the whole
to-
it's beautiful
Okay.
to watch, and it's like you're interested in the story, but the story takes a couple of turns that you're like, oh, to hell with you.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay.
That pissed me off because it doesn't happen until you're 3 hours into it nearly. You're just
man.
like,
I would be so pissed off if I put that kind of time into something.
I thought about you when it got to that point. Oh, Chuck could be throwing something at this point.
Well, I would have given up like 20 minutes in, probably. So,
But anyway, The Brutalist, nominated for Best Picture. I still think Honora was the right choice for Best Picture.
sounds like it is a better choice than The Brutalist, at least.
Yeah, but I mean, this had a lot more money spent on it. Looks more stunning.
Yeah.
Has all this clout. But I thought the story was, by the time you get to the end of it, the story was weak and used some unnecessary things.
All right.
So there you go.
Well, I'm surprised that I have a recommendation because it's July and the Tour de France is on. But yesterday was a rest day, so I was just surfing around trying to look for something, and on Amazon Prime I found the movie "Gimme Danger,"
Oh yeah.
which is a documentary about the Stooges.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that Iggy Pop was a drummer
Yeah.
to begin with. And his first 2 or 3 bands that he played in, he was the drummer. But he said he got tired of looking at the lead singer's ass. But it's just a wild ride through. I have a great love for the Stooges.
Okay.
And the soundtrack is phenomenal.
It's a documentary, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's who made it?
Was it Jim Jarmusch?
Yes, it is. It
Yeah.
is Jim Jarmusch.
Yeah.
who's made a bunch of really great movies.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I saw 28 Years Later.
Oh, good.
28 Years Later. It's a second sequel to 28 Days Later, which it's the original director, Danny Boyle.
Right.
He's done everything from Slumdog Millionaire, Train Spotting, all this stuff. So he's got a really good voice, cinematic voice. And it stars Aaron Taylor Jameson and Jodie Comer are the parents of this boy. And the boy, this 12-year-old, is really the one who's the main character, I think. And he plays a kid named Spike. Mm-hmm. And then Ralph Fiennes is in it in a very bizarre role that doesn't come up until late in the movie. But it's 28 years from the beginning of this zombie apocalypse. And the zombies have been pretty much contained to the United Kingdom. So, France, Norway, and all that, they're safe. But they have patrols to keep zombies from coming to them. And these people actually live on an island that's off from the mainland of the UK. And there are no zombies on the island. And their only connecting point is there's a land kind of bridge that opens up between the island and the mainland at low tides, at certain low tides. And it's a long run, and they got to run through it before the tide comes back up because the currents are real strong, and if you're still on it, you'll get swept out to sea. So they have a tradition of taking children over to the mainland to teach them how to kill the zombies, just so they're trained and they know how to kill. So, interesting concept, yeah. And, the people on the island are, they're pretty raw, but they're festive and buoyant too and everything. And it becomes such a different movie, and it's hard to explain. I don't want to explain why, but it becomes, and I read, people saying, I just cried at this movie. It's like, okay, so, someone's going to be killed by a zombie, or maybe you feel sorry for a zombie. Because these zombies, they're more sophisticated than in the past 28 days. Right. And then they did a 28 weeks later. So this is 28 years later. And, there's a pregnant zombie. And, I mean, they're kind of a little more cognizant of the world, but still crazy zombies.
Still want to eat your brains.
Still after your brains, and then running crazy and all that crap. But it, like The Brutalist, I guess, it takes a wild turn, and it's just such a heavy, emotional impact part of this movie that you're not expecting, and that's really not pertinent to everything I just told you. And like I say, the kid is like the star of this movie. So I would recommend it, but it's a lot, and it was more than I was ready for and wanted, I think.
Huh. Well, it sounds like something I'd like.
Danny Boyle, Yeah. Well, I can tell you the key part if you want after we're done here. I don't know. I don't know how you'd feel about it, but maybe you'd like it. But anyway, if you like a good zombie movie that has a surprising twist, that's very emotional, and you might cry. 28 years later, go for it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm just going to recommend for music, look up a single by the band Tractorhead, and this is
Tractorhead.
Tractorhead.
Okay.
And I just saw them last weekend. They don't play a lot of shows, but they have a song that I love that should be a country hit if there was any justice, called "Drinking and Mowing."
Drinking and Mowing.
It's a great record.
It is great. Song. But if you don't like that single, you're not going to like the rest of the record probably. But it's great because I like drinking and mowing, grass flying, booze flowing. And it's so much fun. And every time I get on my riding lawnmower, I think about this song. But Tractorhead, drinking and mowing.
Well, drinking and mowing, that's a tradition.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to recommend a band called TV Eyes. You mentioned TV Eye as a Stooges song, but this is a band called TV Eyes, and it's kind of a super group.
Say
TV, like television.
Okay, TV
Eyes.
Eye. Okay,
Eyes.
gotcha.
TV Eyes. And it's the drummer from Red Cross and keyboard player and guitarist from Jellyfish, Jason Faulkner and Roger Joseph Manning. and they are purposely trying to sound like 80s synth pop bands. Like there's one song sounds just like Killing Joke. Another song, it reminds me so much of Scary Monsters era Bowie.
Yeah.
A lot of Gary Newman stuff. It's really well produced. It sounds fantastic. It was recorded in 2003, and no record label picked it up, and it just sat on a shelf for 3 years, and then it was only released in Japan, and it wasn't until 2014. It was first recorded in 23, and in 2014 it became available in the States. So it's called TV Eyes. They have one. It's just that's the name of the album, and self-titled 2006.
That's the second band that I know that had used a Iggy Pop line. Radio Birdman. It's another band that got it from a Iggy Pop song.
All right. Well, I've made occasional reference to the band Throwing Muses.
Right.
And they were a band that got started in the 80s, late 80s, when the stepsisters, Kristen Hirsch and Tanya Donnelly, got together and created this band. And they were teenagers, and from the get-go, they were like really innovative and all that. And Kristen Hirsch, very different young gals. Kristen Hirsch has a variety of mental illness type diagnoses and physical, and she's I think she's bipolar and maybe schizophrenic, and she's heard voices which she used as her lyrics, and very intense young woman who is now in her late 50s, and she's put out another Throwing Muses album. She's been going all along. And the new album, let's see, what is it called? Moonlight Concessions. But rather than recommend that new album, because I have to warn you, it's very grim. It's very. She sounds very weathered, and even though she's late 50s, she sounds like she could be 100. And it's dark and it's grim, But I'm like, well, let's go back to the early Throwing Muses day, and they had an album in 1981 called The Real Ramona. And I love that album. I'm sure that's
I remember that one.
Maybe one of the first ones I threw at you and everything. Flanagan loved that
Oh,
album. And Tanya Donnelly, just the other stepsister, very bright, sunny rocker. She went on to form Belly, and totally different from her stepsister. And there's that contrast in the feeling. They were kind of the McCartney and Lennon of their days, or whatever. But The Real Ramona, like I say, 1981, it was kind of an alt-rock counterpoint to grunge, woman-fronted and led, and so many great tracks on that album. Him Dancing, I've mentioned that before. It's like this very short, like minute-long song, and it's either about a boyfriend on drugs or a playful dog, and I'm still not sure which one it is. And there's this graffiti song, which is it's called Graffiti. It's like menacing, and there's like this reflection and menace to it. And Not Too Soon, that's Tanya Donnelly, her chance to lead sing, and it's this breezy song that comes in. I just love the juxtaposition of the two young women on the album. And then Say Goodbye is like this really smoldering, chaotic kind of song. But I recommend The Real Ramona as a all the way through listen. And also going all the way back to 1987, the EP Fat Skier. There's a song called Soul Soldier on that. And this was when they were their youngest. There's a lot of backward tape conversation that they're having and just weird stuff going on. Just an epic song, like maybe 6-7 minutes. And it's just really dark and deep, and just like I still can't believe listening to it. These are like teenagers, because it just sounds like people who've like really lived through it. So Throwing Muses have a new album. I would recommend before you listen to that new album, you go back to the Real Ramona in 1991 and the song the song Soul Soldier from the EP Fat Skier from 87.
Cool.
All right.
Nice.
All right. Okay, so if you got any ideas for us, email suggestions or feedback to howweheardit@gmail.com. And we will swing back around and talk to you some more. Thanks for joining.
You've been listening to How We Heard It with Chuck Campbell and Wayne Bledsoe, a podcast about music, movies, art, culture, whatever it is that's on their mind. How We Heard It was recorded at the Arbor Studio in Knoxville, Tennessee by me, John Baker. How We Heard It is a Cozy Planet production. If listening to this podcast has given you a burning sensation, then we recommend you sit in a hot tub until your symptoms fade away. If you'd like to reach out to Chuck or Wayne or even me, you can send an email to howweheardit@gmail.com. So thank you for listening, and come on back and we'll have another episode for you next week.